In the shadows of bustling terminals and under the roar of ascending planes, horror lurks. Welcome, dear listeners, to a world where the mundane intertwines with the macabre, where the routine is ruptured by the ripples of fear. Today, we're turning the spotlight not on haunted houses or misty graveyards, but on the shining steel and glass structures that dot our landscape's airports. Airports, those strange liminal spaces where joy and sorrow, departure and arrival coexist. Places where you can find a tearful goodbye at one gate and a joyful reunion at the next. Yet beneath this facade of normalcy, there exists a darker side. Stories that will chill your bones and make your heart race. Stories that are as true as they are terrifying. Think airports are just for travel? Think again. Let's dive into these chilling tales. Our first tale begins with a woman, a simple passenger, boarding her flight. It was just another day, just another journey. The woman, dressed in an unremarkable attire, her face lost in the crowd, was seen stepping onto the airplane. The hum of the aircraft and the chatter of fellow passengers filled the air as the flight prepared to take off. As the plane took to the skies, she settled into her seat, the seatbelt sign glowing in the dim cabin light. Fellow passengers, as well as the flight crew, recall seeing her. She was there, as real as the airplane that carried her. But here's where the story takes a turn for the eerie. When the airplane touched down at its destination and the passengers began to disembark, the woman was nowhere to be found. Her seat, once occupied, was now empty. No bags, no belongings, no sign of her ever having been there. It was as if she had vanished into thin air. The alarm was raised and a frantic search ensued. The plane was combed from nose to tail, every nook and cranny scrutinized. But the woman was simply gone. Not a trace remained. It was as if she had been swallowed by the plane itself. The incident sent waves of fear and confusion among the remaining passengers and the crew. How could someone just disappear from a locked flying plane? The questions were many, the answers few. Speculations ran wild. Some whispered about alien abductions, others about ghostly apparitions, and some even suggested that the woman was a figment of collective imagination. Our next story takes us to Terminal 3, where not all passengers are of the living. Delve with me into the depths of the night, where the clock strikes midnight and the bustling activity of the day gives way to an eerie solitude. This is the time when the phantom of Terminal 3 makes its appearance. This spectral figure, cloaked in an aura of melancholy, has been sighted by numerous staff members who swear by its recurring presence. Always at the stroke of 12, always in the same corner of the terminal, it appears, as if tied to an everlasting schedule, bound by an unseen force. The phantom, they say, is a sorrowful sight. Tattered clothes hang from its ethereal form, its face obscured by the shadows of the terminal's dimmed lights. Its eyes, however, burn with a sorrow so profound it chills the bones. Those who have witnessed it say they can feel the phantom's profound longing, a yearning for something lost or perhaps a journey unfulfilled. Yet despite its unsettling appearance, it seems to bear no malice. It doesn't disrupt the terminal operations or cause any harm. Instead, it wanders aimlessly, its gaze often fixed on the departing planes as though seeking a flight that never comes. Theories abound about the phantom's identity. Some say it's the spirit of a passenger who tragically lost their life in a plane crash years ago. Others speculate it's the ghost of a traveler who died waiting for a flight that was perpetually delayed, but no one can say for certain. The phantom of Terminal 3 remains a mystery, a chilling enigma that adds an uncanny layer to the humdrum routine of the airport. It's a reminder that sometimes in the most mundane places, the extraordinary can lurk, unseen by most but felt by those attuned to its presence. Next time you're in Terminal 3, keep an eye out. You never know who you might bump into. Our final tale is one of a cursed runway where planes don't just take off, they vanish. A chilling statement, isn't it? But such is the eerie reality of Runway 13, a hauntingly enigmatic strip of tarmac that has been the site of numerous inexplicable disappearances and crashes. Over the past few decades, this runway has become the stuff of legends, a subject of hushed whispers among pilots and flight crews. Some say it's just a series of unfortunate coincidences, but others, they believe there's something far more sinister at work. Reports of planes mysteriously vanishing mid-flight only to never be seen again are not uncommon. And then there are those horrifying crashes where aircrafts inexplicably veer off course as if pulled by an unseen force. the wreckage left behind a grim testament to the runway's ominous reputation. But what could be the cause of this series of misfortunes? Could it be a curse, a vengeful spirit perhaps? The theories are as numerous as the incidents themselves. Some believe that the runway is cursed, a piece of land doomed to bring about disaster. Others think that it's the spirit of a pilot who met a tragic end on this very runway years ago, forever trapped in a loop of his final flight. And then there are those who claim to have seen spectral figures on the runway, apparitions that appear only for a moment before vanishing into thin air. Some pilots have even reported feeling a sudden chill when landing or taking off from runway 13, as if the air itself is trying to warn them of the impending doom. Despite the fear and the numerous theories, the runway remains in operation. Pilots continue to brave it, taking off and landing under the watchful eyes of whatever entity may be lurking there. Is it a curse or just a coincidence? Either way, you might think twice before taking off from this runway. After all, who knows what awaits in the seemingly endless expanse of the Cursed Runway 13? 3 stories, 3 chilling reminders that airports can be places of horror. We began with the tale of the Vanishing Passenger, a seemingly ordinary traveler disappearing without a trace from an airplane mid-flight. The baffling absence of evidence, the lack of witnesses, and the unsettling silence that followed. The mystery remains unsolved, forever etching a chilling narrative into the history of aviation. It's a stark reminder that even in the crowded confines of an airplane, one can vanish, leaving behind nothing but a chilling aura of horror and bewilderment. Next, we delved into the spectral saga of the Phantom of Terminal 3, an ethereal presence forever bound to the bustling terminal, echoing an untold story of despair and tragedy. The uncanny sightings, the bone-chilling whispers, and the icy touch felt by unsuspecting travelers. The Phantom serves as a stark contrast to the bustling terminal, a grim specter reminding us that even the most mundane locations can harbor tales of the macabre and the inexplicable. Finally, we tread the cursed grounds of the runway, a place meant for takeoffs and landings, now a stage for a haunting spectacle of eerie lights and phantom planes, the inexplicable events, the haunting apparitions, and the chilling sense of dread that clings to the place like an unshakable shadow. It's a stark reminder that even the most ordinary places can be transformed into landscapes of terror, forever marked by unseen forces that defy reason and understanding. Each of these stories in their own way brings a sense of fear and mystery to places often viewed as mundane. Airports, generally seen as gateways to destinations, become destinations of horror themselves. The everyday sights and sounds give way to inexplicable phenomena, bone-chilling events, and eerie presences. It's as if these locations, steeped in countless departures and arrivals, are haunted by the unseen and the unexplained. The fear isn't merely in the events themselves, but in the unknown. The lack of answers, the absence of reason, the defiance of logic. These are what truly form the essence of horror. And these stories, in their eerie silence and chilling mystery, embody this essence, leaving us with an unshakable sense of dread and unease. So, as we conclude, let us remember these tales not as mere stories, but as chilling reminders of the unknown that lurks in the most ordinary of places. They serve to remind us that the world of horror is not confined to dark alleyways or haunted houses. It can be found in the everyday and the mundane, in the places we least expect. So next time you're waiting for your flight, remember these tales. Because in the world of horror, even airports aren't safe.